Today we are going to study narration concepts and tricks. Let's start. What is direct or indirect speech? Direct speech, reporting the message of the speaker in exact words as spoken by him. Direct speech example, Rama said, I am busy now. Indirect speech, reporting the message of the speaker in our own words. Indirect speech example, Rama said that he was very busy then. Direct and indirect speech rules. To change a sentence of direct speech into indirect speech, there are various factors that are considered, such as reporting verbs, modals, time, place, pronoun, tense, etc. We will take up all the factors one by one. Rule number 1, direct to indirect speech conversion, reporting verb. 1. When the reporting verb of direct speech is in past tense, then all the present tenses are changed to corresponding past tense in indirect speech. Direct to indirect speech example. Direct, she said, I am happy. Indirect, she said that she was happy. 2. In indirect speech, tenses do not change if the words used within the quotes talk of a habitual action or universal truth. Direct to indirect speech example. Direct, he said, we cannot live without air. Indirect, he said that we cannot live without air. 3. The tenses of direct speech do not change if the reporting verb is in future tense or present tense. Direct to indirect speech example. Direct, she says, will say, she is going. Indirect, she says, will say she is going. Rule number 2, direct speech to indirect speech conversion, present tense. 1. Present perfect changes to past perfect. Direct to indirect speech example. Direct, I have been to Boston, she told me. Indirect, she told me that she had been to Boston. 2. Present continuous changes to past continuous. Direct to indirect speech example. Direct, I am playing the guitar, she explained. Indirect, she explained that she was playing the guitar. 3. Present perfect changes to past perfect. Direct to indirect speech example. Direct, he said, she has finished her homework. Indirect, he said that she had finished her homework. 4. Simple present changes to simple past. Direct to indirect speech example. Direct, I am unwell, she said. Indirect, she said that she was unwell. Rule number 3, direct speech to indirect speech conversion, past tense amp, future tense. 1. Simple past changes to past perfect. Direct to indirect speech example. Direct, she said, Irwin arrived on Sunday. Indirect, she said that Irwin had arrived on Sunday. 2. Past continuous changes to past perfect continuous. Direct to indirect speech example. Direct, we were playing basketball, they told me. Indirect, they told me that they had been playing basketball. 3. Future changes to present conditional. Direct to indirect speech example. Direct, she said, I will be in Scotland tomorrow. Indirect, she said that she would be in Scotland the next day. 4. Future continuous changes to conditional continuous. Direct to indirect speech example. Direct, he said, I'll be disposing the old computer next Tuesday. Indirect, he said that he would be disposing the old computer next Tuesday. Rule number 4, direct speech to indirect speech conversion, interrogative sentences. 1. No conjunction is used if a sentence in direct speech begins with the question, what, where, when, as the question word itself acts as a joining clause. Direct to indirect speech example. Direct, where do you live? Asked the boy. Indirect, the boy inquired where I lived. 2. If a direct speech sentence begins with auxiliary verb, helping verb, the joining clause should be if or whether. Direct to indirect speech example. Direct, she said, will you come for the party? Indirect, she asked whether we would come for the party. 3. Reporting verbs such as said to, changes to inquired, asked, or demanded. Direct to indirect speech example. Direct, he said to me, what are you wearing? Indirect, he asked me what I was wearing. Rule number 5, direct speech to indirect speech conversion, changes in modals. 1. While changing direct speech to indirect speech, the modals used in the sentences changes like can becomes could, may becomes might, must becomes had to, would have to. Examples. Direct, she said she can dance. Indirect, she said that she could dance. Direct, she said I may buy a dress. Indirect, she said that she might buy a dress. Direct, Rama said, I must complete the assignment. Indirect, Rama said that he had to complete the assignment. 2. There are modals that do not change like could, would, should, might, or to. Direct speech to indirect speech examples. Direct, she said, I should clean the house. Indirect, she said that she should clean the house. Rule number 6. Direct speech to indirect speech conversion. Pronoun. 1. The first person in the direct speech changes as per the subject of the speech. Direct speech to indirect speech examples. Direct, he said, I am in class 12th. Indirect, he says that he was in class 12th. 2. The second person of direct speech changes as per the object of reporting speech. Direct speech to indirect speech examples. Direct, she says to them, you have done your work. Indirect, she tells them that they have done their work. 3. The third person of direct speech doesn't change. Direct speech to indirect speech examples. Direct, he says, she dances well. Indirect, he says that she dances. Rule number 7. Direct speech to indirect speech conversion. Request, command, wish, exclamation. 1. Indirect speech is supported by some verbs like requested, ordered, suggested and advised. Forbade is used for the negative sentences. Therefore, the imperative mood in direct speech changes into the infinitive in indirect speech. Direct speech to indirect speech examples. Direct, she said to her, please complete it. Indirect, she requested her to complete it. Direct, Hamid said to Ramid, sit down. Indirect, Hamid ordered Ramid to sit down. 2. In exclamatory sentences that express grief, sorrow, happiness, applaud, interjections are removed and the sentence is changed to an assertive sentence. Direct speech to indirect speech examples. Direct, she said, alas, I am undone. Indirect, she exclaimed sadly that she was broke. Rule number 8. Direct speech to indirect speech conversion. Punctuations. 1. In direct speech the words actually spoken should be in quotes and always begin with a capital letter. Example, she said, I am the best. 2. Full stop, comma, exclamation or question mark are placed inside the closing inverted commas. Example, they asked, can we sing with you? 3. If direct speech comes after the information about who is speaking, comma is used to introduce the speech placed before the first inverted comma. Direct speech example, he shouted, shut up. Direct speech example, thinking back, he said, she didn't expect to win. Comma is used to separate the two direct speeches and no capital letter to begin the second sentence. Rule number 9. Direct speech to indirect speech conversion. Change of time. 1. In direct speeches, the words that express nearness in time or place are changed to words that express distance in indirect speech, such as now becomes then, here becomes there, ago becomes before, thus becomes so, today becomes that day, tomorrow becomes the next day, this becomes that, yesterday becomes the day before, these becomes those, hither becomes thither, come becomes go, hence becomes thence, next week or month becomes following week per month. Direct speech to indirect speech examples. Direct, he said, his girlfriend came yesterday. Indirect, he said that his girlfriend had come the day before. 2. The time expression does not change if the reporting verb is in present tense or future tense. 4. Remove the conjunctions like that, to, if or whether, wherever necessary. 5. Where the reporting verb is in past tense in indirect, change it to present tense in the direct speech. 6. Change the past perfect tense either into present perfect tense or past tense as necessary. Examples. Indirect, she asked whether she was coming to the prom night. Direct, she said to her, are you coming to the prom night? Indirect, the girl said that she was happy with her result. Direct, the girl said, I am happy with my result.